And now, if you don't mind, we're going to get to the news. President Trump is set tomorrow night to deliver the first State of the Union address of his second term. No one knows yet whether he'll give the traditional speech of around 90 minutes or just show this picture and walk off. I mean, what else do you need to know about the State of the Old Union? A video has gained attention online that shows FBI Director Kash Patel partying and chugging a beer in the locker room after the U.S. men's Olympic hockey team's victory over Canada. Look at him. He looks like a Make-A-Wish kid whose wish was to look even smaller. Secret Service will reportedly issue agents to new suits after Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem criticized her bodyguard's attire. Wait, she's giving fashion advice? Will they be shopping from the same Spirit Halloween? Workers in Washington, D.C. last week hung a large banner of President Trump on the Justice Department headquarters. And I know he's going for a scary dictator vibe, but somehow it reminds me more of when a museum gets a new dinosaur. In a recent podcast interview, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said, quote, "I'm not scared of a germ. I used to snort cocaine off of toilet seats. Now I know he's crazy. Why wouldn't you use the toilet tank, you know? It's flat and you don't have to get on the ground, I've heard." In a new interview, Second Lady Usha Vance said that Vice President J.D. Vance has been perfecting a recipe for Japanese milk bread and said that he makes it, quote, almost as well or as well as some of the restaurants that we get it from. Well, yeah, because when you eat it at home, it doesn't have any spit in it. When asked last week about former President Barack Obama seemingly confirming that aliens are real, President Trump told reporters, quote, "Well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. You should talk. If someone wants classified information from you, they just have to take a dump at your golf club." Disneyland has announced that couples will be able to hold early morning wedding ceremonies at the Haunted Mansion, which is great because it frees up your whole afternoon for the annulment. After winning a bronze medal in the biathlon competition in the Milan Cortina Winter Olympics, a Norwegian athlete gained attention online for confessing in an interview to cheating on his former girlfriend. In his defense, if you're a biathlete, you have like twice the temptation. If I understand the sport. Finally, the Olympic Village for Milan Cortina Games reportedly ran out of free condoms for competitors in just 3 days. It was so bad they almost had to cancel the two-man luge. Tonight was the State of the Union address, and President Trump said yesterday that he was expecting the speech to be long. Oh yeah, I think we're all expecting that. You're incapable of being brief. Even if you were just gonna read a haiku, I would expect 2 intermissions. President Trump tonight delivered his State of the Union address. We tape early, so I'll go ahead and fact check in advance. Not true. Not true. OJ's white Bronco was not driven by Joe Biden. Not true, not true. And actually, Jonathan Bailey is people's sexiest man alive. So let's get that straight. During a White House event yesterday, President Trump complained that he does not get credit for his accomplishments, but does get credit for other people's. That's right, President Trump complained that he does not get credit for his accomplishments and added, quote, "If I came up with a cure for cancer, they would say he should have done it years ago." I don't know, I feel like if you came up with a cure for cancer, I would lose respect for cancer. During the same event, President Trump said that crazed shooters only go after consequential presidents and added that John F. Kennedy was consequential because, quote, "there was a glamour there." Yeah, that's why they're going after you. The glamour. Can we go? I have an interesting question about that one, Wally. Can we go back to the 2 cards? I feel like you spelled glamour 2 different ways. All right, so there's the punchline with the U. And in the first one, just the no.
Yeah. I was just in London, so that's the London spelling, the British spelling of it.
Oh, you were in London, so you wanted to do one for us and one for them?
Yeah.
Understood. I respect. The tip of the cap, Wally.
Chip, chip, cheerio.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un was reelected yesterday as the head of the ruling political party. I think because he got out and really talked to the people, unlike his opponent, who never left his grave. The CEO of Domino's said in a new interview that the pizza chain is looking to double its market share, in part by targeting lower-income customers. Oh, you mean hoping rich people order Domino's hasn't worked? What's the matter? They can't read the pizza tracker through their monocle? Rich people are still wearing monocles, right? Good. I worried that was a dated reference. Did you see a lot of monocles over in foggy London town?
I did, actually, yeah.
So lucky that we have Wally now to go to for her. Our England news. New York-based food companies issued a recall for more than 9,000 pounds of family-size Italian-style frozen meatballs after customers reported finding pieces of metal, though if they were really Italian-style, the company would have just said, eat around it. I don't know. You been to Italy recently? Is that how they talk? No? Okay.
Sorry.
All right. The pharmaceutical company Novo Nordisk announced today that it will reduce the cost of its weight loss drugs in 2027 by up to 50%. Of course, the hard part will be keeping it off. Guess what? That was a test and you all passed. Finally, the restaurant chain Applebee's this week began offering a New Orleans-themed Big Easy burger, which features pepper jack cheese, spicy mustard, and andouille sausage, and this is nice, a jazz funeral. Scientists announced this week that they have found microplastics inside tumors removed from patients' prostate glands. Oh, I'm sorry, would you rather talk about the State of the Union speech from last night? All right, but I'm telling you, this is less gross. President Trump last night delivered the longest State of the Union address in modern history. He basically has only two modes, fully asleep or trying to prove he can stay up all night. It's like having a Coke dealer or a toddler as president. Or worse, a Coke-dealing toddler. During last night's State of the Union address, President Trump awarded 2 Congressional Medals of Honor and a Purple Heart. He even gave some awards to other people. During the same address, President Trump did not mention the Jeffrey Epstein files, which seems very rude considering how much they mention him. These are bad manners. While entering the House chamber before the State of the Union, President Trump shook hands with Democratic Senator John Fetterman. That's why today the hand makeup wasn't nearly enough. Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger delivered the Democrats' response to last night's State of the Union address and spoke for 12 minutes. Well, she sighed for 9 minutes and spoke for 3. According to a new report, the UFC fight scheduled to take place this summer on the White House South Lawn will feature a weigh-in at the Lincoln Memorial. Wow, you got to work pretty hard to be the worst thing that's ever happened to Lincoln. We have a writer named Mike Scollins. He wrote that. That's what he looks like. Today was FBI Director Kash Patel's 46th birthday, and there wasn't a surprise party. That's just how he looks. It's just always, every day is a surprise. Dunkin' has begun offering iced coffee in 48-ounce buckets that have a handle, lid, and straw, which is handy because after 48 ounces of coffee, you're gonna need a bucket. A Florida convenience store manager was arrested this week for allegedly stealing more than $300,000 worth of scratch-off lottery tickets in a scam that netted him almost $5. and two free tickets. So we don't know what those have. A new study suggests that the Tyrannosaurus rex would chase its prey by running on its tiptoes. Scientists believe it's the only dinosaur to go extinct from bullying. And finally, Bloomberg published an article this week on the cheaper cuts of beef Americans are consuming amid rising prices. You know what that means? The McHoof is back. In a post yesterday on Truth Social, President Trump criticized Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib for interrupting his State of the Union address and said that they, quote, screamed uncontrollably last night at the very elegant State of the Union. Oh, is that the same elegant State of the Union where you signed a guy's Trump tie like you were a retired pitcher at a card show? In an interview this week, House Speaker Mike Johnson said if Republicans lost in the midterms, it would, quote, be the end of the Trump presidency in real effect. See how easy it is to come up with a winning message, you guys? In her opening statement while testifying today before the House Oversight Committee about Jeffrey Epstein, Hillary Clinton criticized the panel and said that if they were serious about getting new information about Epstein, they would force President Trump to testify. Oh, that's a good idea. I'm sure he'd be very forthcoming. Oh, this is gonna make me look bad, but then I did swear to tell the truth. You get more information if you forced Jeffrey Epstein to testify. He'd actually take the vow, you think? During a confirmation hearing yesterday, Surgeon General designate Dr. Casey Means said she would not direct parents to vaccinate their children against measles and the flu, mainly because if children go to a doctor's office or a Walgreens, they'd have to put out their cigarettes. That kid was psyched today when we brought him in for the photo shoot. He's like, can I keep this? President Trump's America 250 task force unveiled the design today for an official time capsule that will be buried on July 4th to celebrate the country's 250th anniversary and then accidentally dug up next year when he demolishes the West Wing. Vice President J.D. Vance announced yesterday that the Trump administration will freeze nearly $260 million in Medicaid funding for Minnesota in an effort to combat fraud. Oh, sure, it's definitely because of the fraud and not to get back at them for laughing when that ICE agent slipped and fell on his ass. And yeah, we had to show the video. It's from the news. During a press conference yesterday, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services Administrator Dr. Mehmet Oz criticized people who scam federal health care programs and called them, quote, self-serving scoundrels, and then said the whole thing gave me a headache. Thank God I have these Dr. Oz's sort of aspirin. Is it aspirin? Sort of. Buy it wherever pharmacists aren't paying attention. During their White House visit this week, President Trump reportedly served the U.S. men's Olympic hockey team McDonald's. I mean, of course he did. I think he only invites people to the White House so he can get McDonald's. This is a lot of people. Should we just hit the drive-thru? The website NorthJersey.com has launched a March Madness-style competition to determine the best chicken parmesan in the state, though it's going to be confusing when 30 of the choices are my cousin Angela's. Authorities in Canada recently raided 2 convenience stores and discovered illegal synthetic cannabis, cigars, knives, brass knuckles, and hallucinogenic edibles. That's crazy. Who goes to a convenience store to buy cigars? And finally, New York's MTA has announced that later this year, it will begin testing an audio advertising program. It will mark the first time passengers had ever said, oh, thank God, a mariachi band. And that was a monologue,